Can you imagine carrying around a device the size of a fridge just to store a few songs? Crazy, right? Not too long ago, storing a few megabytes of data required a machine that weighed over a ton and could fill an entire room. Fast forward to today, and we've got terabytes of storage sitting comfortably in our pockets. So how did we go from these massive machines to the sleek devices we use today? Let's start with a little time travel. Back in the 19th century, we weren't even close to having hard drives or flash memory. We had punch cards. These little cards with holes in them were used to store data, thanks to a guy named Joseph Marie Jacquard, who was using them to control textile looms. But as technology started moving faster, so did our storage needs. Enter the magnetic drum in the 1950s. Imagine a metal cylinder spinning at high speeds, coated with magnetic material. These drums could store tens of thousands of bits. Let's jump to 1956, when things really started to get interesting. This is when IBM dropped a game changer, the first hard disk drive, and it was the size of 2 refrigerators. It weighed over 2,000 pounds and could store 5 megabytes. IBM leased this monster for about $30,000 a month in today's money, and they had to use a cargo plane just to move it. But things started getting smaller and more affordable. By the 1980s, hard drives were small enough to fit inside your desktop computer. Remember Seagate? They released the first 5.25-inch hard drive, which held 5 megabytes and cost $1,500. But it was a massive leap at the time. Then, something cool happened in 1982. Ever heard of a compact disc? Yep, CDs revolutionized how we stored data. They could hold 700 megabytes. They paved the way for CD-ROMs and eventually DVDs, which offered a whopping 4.7 gigabytes of storage. Alright, let's talk about flash memory now. You know that little USB drive you've got lying around? You can thank Toshiba's Fujio Masuoka for that. He invented flash memory back in 1984, and it got its name because the erasing process reminded him of a camera flash. But it wasn't until 2000 that IBM and M Systems dropped the first USB flash drive, the Disk On Key. It had 8 megabytes of storage, which might not sound like much today, but back then it really was a game changer. The big win with flash memory is that it doesn't have any moving parts, which makes it faster and more durable. As our appetite for data exploded, storing everything locally just wasn't cutting it anymore. Enter cloud storage. In 2006, Amazon Web Services launched Amazon S3, and that pretty much changed the game. Suddenly, your data wasn't limited to what you could fit in your hardware. It was out there in the cloud, accessible from anywhere. Here's a crazy stat. In its first year, Amazon S3 stored over 2 billion objects. Fast forward to 2020, and that number has skyrocketed to 100 trillion. Mind-blowing, right? Okay, if you think storing files in the cloud is wild, wait until you hear about DNA storage. Yep, scientists are figuring out how to store data and the same stuff that makes us who we are. In 2012, researchers at Harvard managed to store an entire book in DNA. That's right, a whole book. The potential here is insane. We're talking about being able to store the entire world's data in something the size of a shoebox. And if that's not futuristic enough, let's talk holographic storage. It's still in the experimental phase, but it works by storing data in 3 dimensions, which could mean massive storage capacities on tiny disks. Imagine storing terabytes of data on something as small as a DVD. So, there you have it. From punch cards to the quantum realm, data storage has come a long way. Each breakthrough builds on the last, and we're still only scratching the surface of what's possible. With the amount of data we create every day, who knows what the future holds? What do you think the future of data storage looks like? Please drop your thoughts in the comments below.